So amazing! Thank you and good night.
Where's the snacks?
That was amazing.
Well, this, let me just door shut and get going. First of all, welcome and fantastic turnout. I'll be honest, I didn't expect this. Everyone who does these has this fear that they'll turn up and they'll be, oh,
Just walk up.
ladies and gentlemen, it's Lindsay. So yeah, yep. Thank you for all being here. This is fantastic. So now, as you all know, I'm James. I'm the author of The Adventures of Henrietta Hedgeking. So it's a new children's picture book, and the first in what I'm hoping is a series. Now, I've only released the first book, but this evening we're going to have a little treat if I've got time, and if I still have a voice by that point. I will actually read a little excerpt from book 2, which I think only 2 or 3 people in this room have actually seen so far. My fantastic 8 readers are back here. So, how did all this start? How did I come up with this amazing red-headed witch? Well, believe it or not, I didn't start off as a children's writer. I've been writing now since about the age of 14. I'm 40 something now. I won't say exactly what, because it'll embarrass mother. I'm 25.
And a bet.
And a I actually started way back when in the 1990s, where a lot of modern day writers start, and that's writing fan fiction. Now, there's a certain amount of snobbery, it seems, around fan fiction. There's been less over the last few years. When you have books like a certain 50 Shades, which was actually originally a fan fiction story of Twilight, becoming a massive hit, people have started to think, well, hang on, perhaps this fan fiction stuff, and yes, I hate it as well. Don't worry. Yeah. Perhaps there's a lot of talent here in this fan fiction world, but back then, yeah, it was a bunch of nerds, and in my case, it was especially nerdy. Mine was mostly Star Trek fan fiction. About my mid-teens, I discovered a love of horror literature. Now, at this point, you're thinking, hang on, this guy's a children's writer. Why is he speaking about horror? That is honestly where it all started. And in fairness, it's my mother's fault.
It is.
It was a trip to Pat's bookstore one Tuesday afternoon, as I recall, and I picked up a copy of James Herbert's Moon. If you haven't read this yet, Moon is actually set on Guernsey. Fantastic book, wonderful read, highly recommended for the adults in the room, not the children. So yeah, it was like, well, this is great, this is fantastic. I really enjoyed it, and it was a complete change off of the whole sci-fi thing, which up until that point in my life, that's what I've been. I was a sci-fi junkie. And I thought, you know what? I could write this. There's obviously a formula here. And in truth, a lot of books, there is a formula when writing. As much as I love James Herbert, his stuff is very formulaic, unfortunately. But still brilliant. Still brilliant. I do love a bit of Herbert. So it was one day, sat at the, it was actually at the Guernsey Pearl, staring out. I saw the Hanwell Lighthouse flashing at us. Inspiration hit. I had an idea for my first horror story. Get home, I start writing away, because at that point I didn't even have a typewriter. It was all by hand. The old days. And yeah, that was kind of the very beginning of me becoming serious about film writing. I was about 15 at this point, so we're talking about 2 years ago.
Very subtle.
I'm a little ashamed to say that first story is still not finished. So anyone in here who does write, don't worry about taking your time. There's plenty of time. But it also highlights a very, very important thing. If you are into writing, always have something on you that you can make notes on. Because inspiration can hit you absolutely anywhere. Scraps of paper on your phone, yeah, it's all good. Just get the ideas down. So then, years move on and I'm still writing horror. And in about my mid-20s, after a bit of a break off of writing, because this again does happen. Writing is not a simple process. It's not a case of you sit down and you start banging away at the keys. Very often you sit down and you're just staring at that screen. Nothing is coming. And it can be disheartening. It's very easy to lose heart. Don't. The only badly written thing is the one that's not written. You can always edit afterwards. So anyway, I digress. I do that talk a lot, so just a heads up, I will be going off on quite a few tangents in this speech. It was my mid-20s and I'd actually moved to Utah in the US. I hadn't written for quite a while at this stage. And a friend of mine mentioned a contest called NaNoWriMo. I don't know if you have heard of this. It's the National Novel Writing Month. It's held every year in it is, isn't it? Yes, November. I'm not sure what the count is now, but when I last did it, the idea was 40,000 words in 1 month. And I actually achieved it. Yeah, I got asked to do this with a mate of mine there, and it really kick-started reignited, that's the word, yeah, I'm a writer, reignited my love for writing. It also got me into a new genre, urban fantasy. At least that's the closest I've ever been able to work out what this story is. Now, this story does exist. It's out there. I've never published it, and I don't think anyone besides me has ever actually read it either. But one day, it'll need a lot of tweaking. It's still a first draft. But that's where it all changed. That was when I really became serious about writing. It built off of that. But over all of these years, in different stages, different levels of passion for it. So there I am, writing urban fantasy. If you don't know what that is, basically it's some myth and magic, but in a modern setting. in my case, and I'll be honest, by all means, if you want this idea, steal it. Go ahead. I don't care. It isn't out there. I doubt I'll ever actually do it all anymore. But the basic idea of this was that the magician Merlin is not dead. He's actually an immortal being who has been various people over several eons. I think he's that old. Yeah, that's a very, very general rundown of it. There are demons and horrible, nasty things in it, and it's quite fun. There is a thing that I will say afterwards. Cover the children's ears because it might disturb them. A thing that I miss since I started in Guilles-Alles. And I know that Nikki knows exactly what I'm going to say. Anyway, so yeah, here we go. 10 more years, or possibly a bit more, of writing urban fantasy. Still doesn't feel quite right though. It's great, I'm enjoying it. Yeah, but the spark is not quite there. So then move forward to 5 or 6 years ago now. And I get asked by my employer to go and certify as a trainer for an industry certification, which all of our staff have to all go to. Okay, I'll do that. It involves teaching all of our staff to get them trained up and passed to this all cert. And there's 4 people in here who have been through my class. I promise this evening will be a lot less sweary.
We might like that, sir.
But there's young years.
During IPC we did.
Oh yeah.
It's very endearing.
Yeah.
What it did was it sparked something else in me. I actually enjoyed teaching. It was kind of satisfying being able to take this complex idea and work it in a way that you can explain it to anyone. It was around about now that my best friend, who, funnily enough, is also a red-headed witch, and is in fact the face of Henrietta. Hopefully she's on there now, watching us. She actually suggested, why don't you try writing a children's book? I'm a horror and fantasy writer. I had no idea about writing a children's book. But you know what? Why not? Let's give it a go. Another core thing about writing, just try it. It's great. It's free. You can just try anything. If it works, fantastic. If it doesn't work, you've lost a bit of time. That's all. Storage space on laptops is free. Or at least exceedingly cheap. So that's kind of how we got to here. We needed a core concept. I did a lot of research. I asked around what kind of things, as parents, would you like your children to see in books? I got a load of responses, a lot of the normal ones, and one really stood out, and that was the concept of friendship. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to put a bit of a twist on this one. Because it's one thing I think all of us, as we've gotten older, have learned. It's that there are different levels of friendship. There are those who will pretend that they are your friends. They're really not. They're just using you. And being able to see that is a skill I think a lot of us wish we had learned at a much younger age. So, you know, let's go with that. And here we are. 5 years later, we have Henrietta Hedgkin speaking about the importance of being able to tell what a true friend really is. So that's how I reached from Star Trek fan fiction ghastly, horrible horror. Believe me, there were some terrible things in there. That first book, I wrote a thing which I look back and I'm ashamed of myself. Oh no, this was bad. If I ever do rewrite that story, there's one specific bit that is never going in.
Edited beyond recognition.
Oh, it really will be. It really will. I think I actually have the master of it somewhere lurking around. Not certain where, but it's around. So my advice to new writers: don't get set in any one genre straight off the bat, because you never know where this journey is going to take you. Fantastic example: Roald Dahl. Everyone knows Roald Dahl's children's books. Fantastic. One of the greatest children's writers of all time. He also wrote my favourite Bond movie, You Only Live Twice. And I recently learned that he actually created, and there'll be a few of you in here who haven't got a clue what this is, because you're too young. Tales of the Unexpected. That was created by Roald Dahl. And for those of us of a certain age, that music haunts our dreams. It's Sunday night, it's bedtime, there's school next morning. So let's speak about Henrietta herself, because what every children's book needs is a great character. And I knew I wanted a witch. But I didn't want the standard witch. There's hundreds of fairy tale witches out there, green skin even. Green skin, warts, tackling. That's been done. My witch, blue eyes, red hair, little on the clumsy side, as we may hear in book 2. It doesn't come up much in the first book, but it does in the second one. I wanted a witch that people could relate to and not be afraid of, simply because as a child, I was absolutely terrified of grot bags.
Oh,
Oh, she scared me. What is she going to do with that emu? Nothing good, I tell you. Nothing good.
All right.
He had no hope there. So no, I wanted a friendly witch. I wanted people, because it's a witch, she's not going to turn you into a toad. She's going to help you. She's going to be your friend, offer you advice. She's also a little different in that she does not immediately resort to magic. Magic's actually kind of the last resort when things are absolutely dire. She prefers to think things through and fix them that way. Again, I think is a good life lesson, really. Just stop, think, how do we fix this? And if not, get a wand out and we'll use some magic to fix it. She's also that person that on the island, nobody is scared of her. She's the one everyone turns to. Yeah, it's just a bit different, and that's again is the key. You got to have a hook. You need a hook on if you're, especially in children's books. That's a cutthroat industry. There's millions of children's books out there. I mean, mine's obviously the best one, but look out, Peppa Pig, I'm coming for you.
No contest.
Now, Henrietta needed a home. And we got Gillyford. I have no idea how I came up with that name. It just kind of popped into my head one day. I'm honestly not sure. Again, the creation of Gillyford was a moment of inspiration that came out of absolutely nowhere. If you read the opening line of the book, the one I read earlier, I should know this off by heart. was this one line here. This is what actually started the whole series. Over the horizon, just where the sun sets, is the island of Guillyford. One line, that was all it took. Bang! That was the spark. I never intended for this island to grow much beyond. Here's a town, there's a school over there, there's a cottage. It's actually growing as I write more. There are now a lot of interesting and magical creatures. Again, not yet mentioned in the book, but if you go on my website in the Guillyford section, there's a little bit in there about a few of the creatures which exist. A few which are obviously based on your standard fairy tale creatures, fairies. There's a goblin in book 2. Awesome goblin, I might add. Because I've broken one of the golden rules with that goblin. Just need a quick bit of lubrication here. That's the.
He's just gone past.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Isn't it?
It is rather warm. There we go. Yeah, I've also created a few creatures. Triggets. Triggets are kind of stick insect-like creatures. Exist in trees, plants, in the forests. Well, sorry, in Brimbleberry Wood. Call it by its name. And they're actually protectors of the trees and the plants. This will be a very important aspect in a future project, which is a way off yet. It's going to be pretty epic. Grumble fruit. Grumble fruit are fantastic. I love grumble fruit. Have you ever seen a cashew fruit? It looks like a grumpy old man. Grumble fruit look very much like that. Except of course they can talk, and they're very grumpy.
So they are grumpy old man.
Oh, they are. They are very, very grumpy. And they love playing tricks on unwary travellers. They will stick them down wrong paths, preferably a path that ends in a big muddy puddle. Yeah, this whole work, and this is the thing, you never really know where these stories are going to end up if you start them. There is no limit, really. You can do anything. Why an island? Well, I needed an enclosed ecosystem for all of these creatures. I couldn't bundle them, say, in the middle of London, because somebody would have spotted a ginger-headed witch flying around on a broomstick. That sounds like a motorbike. Actually, that's wrong, isn't it? Because motorbikes sound like broomsticks. So, an island, perfect. It also helps because all of us here, we all live on an island. We know what island life is like. There's the old writing proverb, write what you know. I want to extend that, actually. And this is, again, a bit of writing advice. Write what you don't know. It's a phrase I heard about a year back, and it stuck to me because it's like, that's brilliant. Because if you don't know it, you then go out and you start researching it. And you end up down all kinds of rabbit holes. It's fantastic. It's so much fun, and you'll learn so much doing that, and you'll just get all of these ideas you haven't even considered. And that's kind of, again, what's happened a lot with Henrietta. I'll give you a little heads up for book 4. Book 3 is almost done. I had no intention of this ever happening. 2 weeks ago, we were doing a caboose. I looked over, and something on their stalls, on their stall rather, a bunch of plastic dinosaurs. Voila. Gillyford needs a lake monster. Now I'm researching lake monsters. That's cool. Yeah, so at some point in the future, all of these magical creatures and all the people who all live side by side in perfect harmony, they will all be joining forces against something bad that's going to be coming to Gillyford. It's going to be a little bit darker than what's been written so far, but it's going to be great. And it will also include a certain purple dragon who is appearing in book 3. There have been photos on my Facebook page for anyone who's interested. How are we doing for time? I better hurry up and. Okay, now. I have been asked many, many times, who did the drawings for Henrietta? Not me.
Oh my gosh.
I can't draw. This is evidence that I can't draw. This is actually the very, very first drawing of Henrietta Hedgkin.
Is that you?
Yeah, I'm afraid it
God. Did you send that in?
No.
That's very neat handwriting then. Writer.
We like the colours. I mean, yeah.
I'd like to point out I'm 45 and that's my drawing ability. This is why I farmed out the
Yes, stick to
illustrations
writing.
to my publisher. Because,
What's
yeah.
happened to her hair? I like it curly, but it's really.
Well, in fairness, on that side it is kind of curvy. That side is not.
Oh, that's right. I mean, you can even get the stripe on them arms. Lovely, darling.
You did really well.
But it's not. It's awful. I'm the first person to admit, but I'm a writer.
And what happened to the
I'm not a
roots?
drawer.
Never mind, darling. Carry on.
So at this stage, Henrietta's broom was not yet in motorbike mode.
Right. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, that was the other thing I had to have. I wanted something special about Broom, and it's the fact that he can change his shape, he can add on extra seats. He isn't a static Broom, and he's a bit quirky himself. Book 2, there's a second Broom. He's called Zuma. He's called Zuma, and he's a racing Broom. I won't give away any spoilers, but yeah, he kind of helped to save the day. Okay, yeah, this is a story that I love to tell. It goes back to the whole research thing, or again, editing. Editing is massive in writing. The bane of every writer. Your first draft is going to be rubbish.
Yeah.
That's the purpose of the first draft, to be rubbish. The next stage is called editing, and there's about 1 million versions of those, isn't there, Nikki?
That is a million versions. Yeah, 1,000,001 versions.
Well, I have this scene in the second book involving a herd. The gin is kicking in. I've got a herd of stampeding cows, and they're stampeding into trouble. Not good. So Henrietta and her friends, they've got to stop this stampeding herd. That's easy. In this case, we will use a bit of magic, because she's one witch and she won't be going, stop! That would be insane. Instead, they have an idea to, this is like a massive plot point on that, which I probably shouldn't say, but it's fun. Anyway, in effect, the plan is to put all of the cows to sleep before they get into trouble. So, how I originally had this was an epic scene. It was fantastic. They zoom over on their brooms. I mean, we're talking jet noises, Top Gun style flying here, swooping around. Then they fly at the cows, release the sleeping dust stuff, the cows gently fall asleep. Great, brilliant, I love this. And about a week later, I'm driving in to work, and I don't know why I thought this, but I thought, hang on a minute, the physics doesn't work here. If you put the front row of cows to sleep first, all of the back row of cows are going to start slamming into the ones in front of them. Ah! That is not what I said, but again, there are children. So I had to tone it down a lot. So yeah, I had to completely rewrite that entire scene. Expect that a lot when writing. It's those little details, and they can hit you any time. Quite often after the book has been edited and published and it's on the shelves, and you open it and go, oh,
No.
gosh darn it. Gee willikers.
Double ducks.
James, they next
Obviously, you aren't. Gorgeous. Yeah,
And the rest of the world's watching as well. So.
that's very true. So yeah, that's why I don't draw. And it's also why you should also edit as much as you possibly can. Now, who wants to hear a little sneak peek? Okay, I'm going to need a drink of this. Now, I did a practice run of this morning. It did not go well, so everybody gets comfy. This could take a while and be very uncomfortable for everyone. But I'm up on stage, so hopefully it will be fine.
Wing it, Jim. You got it.
Here it is.
Hey.
Henrietta Hedgkin, book 2, Goblin in the Garden. Okay, let's find a nice little extract. I'm going to skip the first part because I kind of cheat in my books. The first 3 paragraphs are exactly the same in all the books. It's a great way to get that word count up.
Fail.
So break it down, people.
Well, $8.99 for the next book then. I've already paid for the first page.
It was a warm, sunny day on Guillyford. Henrietta Hedgkin was pottering in her kitchen, making a new potion to turn Brussels sprouts into chocolate ice cream with butterscotch sauce. Brilliant use of magic right there. Not abusing it at all. This was to be her entry in the Guillyford Summer Festival. Most of the stalls have been set up on tumble down green. Rover was curled up on the windowsill, enjoying the warmth of the sun and dreaming of pilchards. Henrietta hummed a happy tune to herself as she added each ingredient into her mixing bowl. Let's see, she said in a sing-song voice, a little drop of it, a big helping of that. Ooh, and a large dash of what's in here. Just as she reached out for one of the many bottles on the table, Rover suddenly jumped up and gave a loud meow. He stood staring at the window, his tail twitching, and in all of the excitement, Henrietta didn't notice she picked up the wrong bottle. Now, Rover, what's all this then? She asked as she poured the contents of the bottle into the bowl. It wasn't until she heard the fizzing and popping coming out of the mixture that she realised her mistake. Oh dear, she said as the pink mixture bubbled and fizzed more and more until, poof, the whole thing exploded in a cloud of red smoke and green sparkles. Henrietta coughed as the smoke cleared, leaving her face covered in red dust, the green sparkles still crackling and popping in her bright bushy ginger hair. Henrietta giggled as she saw her own reflection. With a quick shake of her head, and she was back to normal, freckles and all. She stared at the bottle in her hand and read the label. Fairy sneezes. Well, I don't think I was supposed to put that in there, she chuckled to herself. Rover, ignoring what was happening behind him, he's a cat, gave another annoyed meow. Henrietta walked over to where he was standing and staring out and becoming very, very upset. She stared out herself, but she couldn't see anything. The bees were buzzing around the flowers, and two of her fairy friends were playing in the rose bushes. What can you see, Rover? Are those naughty mice back again? Henrietta asked with a cheeky wink. Rover gave her his best "I'm not amused" look. That was actually based on our dog, by the way. She has a certain look. And tapped his paw against the window pane, pointing towards the brimble-berry bushes at the end of the garden. Henrietta squinted for a long time before she finally noticed what Rover had been looking at. One of the bushes looked like it was shaking. "Oh, that's rather curious," said Henrietta. "I think we might have a visitor. Come on, Rover, let's go and say hello." Rover gave a little meow, not overly happy at having to move from his nice warm spot, but also curious about who was in his garden. The two tiptoed out towards the bushes. Whoever was in there was very obviously shy, and Henrietta didn't want to scare them. "Hello," Henrietta said softly. "It's okay, you can come out. No one's going to hurt you." The bush rustled again. Henrietta stopped. "My name's Henrietta. What's yours?" she asked. Very slowly, a small, grey, hairy hand appeared around the side of the bush. Then a pointy little hairy ear, followed by a small sad eye. "Fritz," came a quiet, trembling voice. "Well, hello, Fritz. What are you doing hiding in there? It can't be very comfy in that spiky old bush. Why don't you come out and have a nice cup of tea in my gazebo?" smiled Henrietta. Slowly, Fritz started to move out from behind the bush. He was almost out when Rover gave a meow. Startled, Fritz quickly dashed back in behind the bush. "Now, Rover," chastised Henrietta, "that was not very nice. Fritz is our guest. We must make him feel welcome." "Meow," said Rover, confused. Yeah, he's a cat. "It's okay," Henrietta said. "Rover didn't mean to scare you. He's just curious to meet you." Feeling a little braver now, Fritz peered around, and this time he stepped out. Now she could see him properly, and Henrietta realised that Fritz was not at all what she expected. He was short, with grey-coloured skin, a big bulging nose, and a thick mop of black fuzzy hair on his head. He also had very bright and inquisitive green eyes, something Henrietta noticed straight away. It was this feature, more than anything else, that gave him away. Fritz was a goblin. I said you'll have to buy the book. Now, you'll notice there that Fritz had a bit of a speech problem. You'll notice this bozo up here has a bit of a speech problem. I've broken the golden rule. I've done a self-insertion. But you know what? If Clive cussed with that can, so can I. And he was way more blatant than me.
Hey, they said by what you know.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
No golden rules broken.
So book 2 will hopefully be submitted very, very soon. I am going back and reworking it because I'm not 100% happy with Fritz's speech pattern yet. I want it better than it is. Funnily enough, it's incredibly difficult writing a stammer. And properly, and you think of all people I could do it. So, yeah, we're actually doing pretty well. I thought I'd leave this last bit for questions and that. First of all, thank you all for being here. The turnout has been absolutely fantastic. I honestly did not expect this amount of people. We've virtually filled the room. It's great. If you have books, I will be signing books. If you haven't got books, I've got books for sale.
Yeah. I've actually got my sister-in-law wants copies.
If you're interested in my work, I have my author site, GuilesAlesPublicLibrary.com. There's a lot of Henrietta stuff on there, and it's growing all the time. There's actually a new thing which I launched a few weeks back. You can actually message Henrietta and receive a personal reply from the witch herself. I'm also, of course, on Facebook. If you search for JB Angel Author, you should find me. I'm probably the most active on there. And you can always email me at jim@jimangel.com. I'm always happy to answer questions. Oh, excuse me. And yeah, take any reviews and advice. I said, excuse me.
You've got gin in that bar, haven't you?
Yeah.
Not anymore. So I have been told that some people have got questions, stuff they'd like to ask. Now's your chance.
Well, the first one I'd like to know is, what do you see? What's your end goal for Henrietta? Where do you see, like, because the friendship book had obviously a very clear moral, a very clear message.
Yeah.
And there's lots of messages you can do, but is there something that is to you like the pinnacle of what Henrietta stands for?
The pinnacle. It's
Just starting with an easy question.
yeah, no, that's actually a good question. I think it's the overarching theme of all the Henrietta stories. Be kind. That's the main theme. In fact, book 4, that is the actual theme of the story. But yeah, kindness is just treat everyone as you would want to be treated. Don't judge on first appearances. Try and live, which is the theme of book 2. I might add. Yeah, just I've got several books planned. I mean, as some of you know, I'm still writing book 3, and I'm already working on book 4 because the mind just keeps on racing. That's an excellent question. Thank you for putting me on the spot.
You did bring me along with this exam.
That book you started writing about the lighthouse, I've got it somewhere.
Have you? Oh dear.
Got it somewhere. It's in the attic somewhere. Might be even on mice now, you never know. I've definitely got it somewhere, but I'll have to look for it.
That would actually be good.
What, the eating by the mice or the...
Well,
There's a column A and a little column
one
B.
specific section we got eaten by the mice. I
The
think
box.
that piece of it.
The box.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah, that would be good. Well, one day I do plan on going back and redoing all these ideas that I've had over the years. But again, see, that's the great thing about writing. You only get better. The more you write, the better you get. It's I could quit now and do it over with. Okay, what about a pay rise?
Doesn't really help if you quit though.
I mean the job.
Quit the day job doesn't help you get a pay rise.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, how was your experience with your publishers? And what did you learn from it?
Yes, I'm glad you asked that. Actually, it was a pretty steep learning curve. I'll be honest, I went in completely blind. I didn't have a clue what to expect. It took a lot longer than I expected, but I don't know if it's because I actually admitted it was mid COVID, so everywhere was short staffed. Everything was behind. Overall, my experience has been positive. I think. Yeah, it's been good. They have been helpful. They've been very helpful, and I entrusted them with the illustrations, and I mean, absolutely superb. The amount of work that they did on that was fantastic. But yeah, it's, and I went with hybrid publishing, which it's got a bad name in certain circles. I think the term hybrid has become intertwined with the term vanity, and they're totally separate things. They are not the same thing at all. The term vanity, I believe, began in the US, was it? Yeah, and it was speaking about something totally different. But over the years, I mean, I actually hate the term vanity publishing. All publishing is vanity publishing. We're publishing because we think our story is amazing. If that's not vanity, then I don't know what is. Yeah, I intend to go with Austin Macaulay again with the next book. I think it's the marketing is fantastic. I actually did a search a few weeks back. I just Googled the title of the book and looked at what came up. It really is global. There are versions in Italian, in German, Arabic. It's Australia has it. The US. I mean, you couldn't get that kind of reach if you self-publish. It's just fantastic. Yeah, but yeah, it's a learning curve. I think the amount of time everything took was a big shock. Which, again, in fairness, I hadn't ever done this, so I didn't quite know what to expect of it.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned about editing.
Yeah.
So you just need to get it exactly.
Yeah, that's it.
Perfect as you can get it.
Even during the publishing process, there's still a lot of stages where you get a chance to change things. Now, I didn't know that existed, but it's actually very, very handy, because there was bits where if you've read over a manuscript 100 times, you're going to miss things. There was one where I've got a very bad habit of writing the twice, and the brain doesn't catch that. It just reads straight over it. Luckily, my publishers, editors did catch it, and which I'm extremely grateful for. Yeah, it's really good having the experts. They understand the industry. They understand what's needed. Yeah, I recommend them, especially if they're watching. Now, Izzy, I believe you have a question for me.
So, how did you feel when your first book was published?
Oh, wow. I've been struggling to find the words for it. It is a feeling like absolutely nothing else. It's... yeah, I really cannot describe it. It is incredible. When I first held that book in my hand, well, actually no. You know what? I'll go right back. The day that I got the offer of the publisher, I was actually at work. I'm pretty certain your dad heard me scream with joy. The email popped up on my screen. It was like I wasn't here. I was floating. It's a very floaty feeling. But then the day that I first got this beautiful book, and a bargain at only $9.99, when I first held that in my hand, was just, well, there was a lot of emotions. I mean, you can ask Katie. I actually had a few. I'm mad enough to admit I had a few tears.
Tearful, yeah.
The feeling of absolute joy
I'm proud.
and pride. Yeah, there is no feeling like it in the world.
Apart from the day before when you rushed home and it was my cans of Pepsi. I laugh about it now. Or like he rushed home because he longed for it and said, there's a big parcel outside, so he rushed home at lunchtime and it was my cans of Pepsi from Amazon.
I raced home. I nearly killed a person on the crossing. You're not walking fast enough. I'm going.
He got home and it was my scan and save or whatever they call it, and shop and save on Amazon.
So that made that different feeling.
He got home and they went, oh, Mum phoned me today because there was parcels outside, and I went, eh? And he went, yeah, it was your Pepsi, and I went, oh. And then I went, oh, it was your book, and he went, yeah, it wasn't. I went, oh, I'm so sorry. And then the next day he phoned me and I was like, okay. And he went, it's arrived. I was like, oh, thank God for that.
Thank you for toning the language down.
You came back to work and said, sorry, it's a false alarm with some shocking from Amazon.
Again, tone down. Yeah, it is magnificent. Imagine the greatest Christmas you've ever had, and then triple it, and that's how it feels.
It's not that exciting, eh? You should see what I'm buying.
You know what I can guess?
What, a new toothbrush and a pair of socks?
Well, not a new right? Yeah. Okay, yeah. You got any more questions?
You feel nervous when you've written something and you share it with someone for the first time?
Every single
But you
time.
really think it's something really, really good.
Every single time. There is no bigger critic of a writer's work than the writer themselves. You can take 5 writers and they'll all hate their work. They'll think, this is rubbish, what am I doing here? And then they'll hand it to a person like, I'm sorry, I'm forcing you to read this awful stuff, I should be flogged. And they read it and they go, wow, that was amazing. And next thing is like, what? We're reading the same thing. Yeah, every time it takes a lot to actually hand over that work. And it's very important as well to have beta readers. You need those, and to get the feedback, people you trust to be honest and to say, yeah, you're rubbish at this. Or, hey, that's pretty good, but, and yeah, that's a massive thing. So you have to get over that fear. It's a very terrifying part of it, really. Well, besides these things. You're next.
Yeah, sure.
Oh,
I might chicken out, yeah. I did one as well. I'm his first recommendation for AM, and I got an offer. Yeah.
Again, pretty business your way.
At least one.
Hopefully 2.
Maybe 2. Maybe 2.
Yeah.
You've only got 5 minutes left for signing.
Oh my God,
Hurry up.
Yes, certainly. Well,
You have some fans that require.
thank you, everyone. Before I start to sign,
Everybody go first.
that's right. I have my special signing pen. I just like to say a thank you to our online viewers who've joined us this evening, and I hope you've enjoyed it. All feedback is greatly appreciated, and if it's nasty, I know where to find you. So I'm going to take us offline because me scrolling in books is not overly exciting viewing. Yep, I hope everyone's enjoyed it, and we shall see you soon.